Welcome to another theme video from Numismatic Notes with Benjamin. I am Benjamin, and today the theme is going to be on snakes. Snakes as they appear on banknotes from around the world. Snakes as a theme on a banknote is pretty interesting. There's a lot of snakes that don't really look like a snake necessarily, but then there are some things that aren't snakes that look like snakes. And then there are snakes that you see as imagery around doctor's office and in the health industry, like the Asclepius, the bowl, the snakes, the pole that has the snakes crawling up it. All of those stories alluding to Moses and the brass serpent on the post in the wilderness. But let's go ahead and get started. This video is going to be all about snakes on banknotes. Snakes are limbless reptiles, and they have paired organs. I didn't know this. But if you were to dissect a snake, you would find that they have organs in pairs just like the other animals do, but that they have one in front of the other. And for example, in most snakes, they only have one working lung. The other doesn't really do much for them. They are found on every continent of the world except Antarctica, and they range in size from 4 inches up to 22 feet. Pretty amazing. And I'm going to tell you right now, as I was doing my research on snakes on Wikipedia and other places online, Googling information, I love to determine the etymology of words, and I had so much etymology going on with snakes that it just gave me a headache. And so you have Old English origins for snakes, and you also have Sanskrit. In fact, when you hear snake, you are saying a word that is in Sanskrit, believe it or not, and it's called a naga. And so when you hear snake, you're actually listening to a word that comes to English from a foreign language, the naga. Because the snaga, you can almost hear the snake in sanaga, can't you? So, I mean, there you go. And to make it even worse is, what was Voldemort's snake called in Harry Potter? That's right, Nagini. So there you go. Even some Latin a little bit in there. So the word origins for snake is very convoluted in my head. It's almost as confusing the fossilization record, because of the fragility of their skeletons. You don't find a lot of snake fossils. However, they can be found, and they can be found as early as in formations from the Cretaceous period. Now, there is consensus that snakes are descendants of lizards, and there are approximately 3,900 species of snakes. And not all snakes are identified on this video, and some of them aren't even real. For example, this Colombian 10,000 pesos, a very striking recent banknote, and you have your snake here that really is morphing into a river. And I think that there's a lot of us who have seen rivers from airplanes who marvel at how snaky-like those rivers can look. And this note is no exception. Let's move over to Tanzania. Yes, y'all, that is a buffalo. That is a Cape buffalo. And it looks to be a very male Cape buffalo. But where's the snake? It must be on this side. And yeah, here it is. This is a medical college building, and you have boats, and you have the building, and then here you have a snake going up a pole, which always makes me think of that Bible story where Moses had to make the bronze serpent for the children of Israel to look at and be healed of their snake bites in the wilderness. And I think, Apollo carried around a stick that had a two-headed snake talking to itself going up it, and they all have special little names. And so a lot of the videos, or a lot of the banknotes in this video are snaky, but could also serve, as part of another video. This is a pretty banknote. I forgot that I had this note until I pulled out this group of notes to look at. You have gantry cranes, boats, there's trucks, there's transportation. You have about everything on this note except a plane. And if you had a plane, you could have planes, trains, and automobiles. And there's the two-headed snake growing up the pole, and there is Apollo, just like I had just mentioned. There's his winged feet, and there's his freedom of thought, and there's his two-headed snake on a stick. This side is very regal, with arms of the Netherlands, apparently, and then really nice decorations on the back of the note. Not to mention a fantastic color. Let's move over here to Austria. This is a krone from pre-World War II or just after it. I think pre-World War II. And here you have it overwritten with like Deutsch Österreich, so Austria. And then here you have two heads, and then in between it you have the same two snakes arguing over a stick that normally Apollo's carrying. So perhaps those heads are of Apollo. Or maybe this is Apollo, I don't know. But the reason this note was included were the snake heads on the other side. We're going to move over to a West African state issue. The letter K there represents Senegal, so this is actually a note of Senegal. And on this side, that is a golden weight, Ashanti weight that represents, those people, the Ashanti people. You may have heard of them in West Africa. There's a globe, there's a school book, there's a chalkboard, and over here is that snake in the dish. I told you how sometimes there's doctors and healthcare that have snakes not climbing up a stick or fighting over a stick. They just have a snake in a bowl. There's a special name for it. It escapes my mind now, but I do my research when things are more related to a single banknote. Now, here's a neat note, and it's from France, and this is a used note, and it's in the same family as that note I showed earlier of Marie Curie. But here's a pilot. There's one of the characters in a book he wrote. There's an airplane. Here's a map of Africa and Europe. And these lines here, I think, show his flight paths and where he disappeared and everything. There's some outer space stuff there, too. I probably should have put this in that other video. But where is the snake, y'all? Oh, there's a star. There's a compass rose. There's a plane. There's, sand in the desert. That part of the sky always made me think of Starry Night by Vincent van Gogh. But I'm not seeing a snake. Are you guys? Let's look again. Snake, snake, snake. Snake, snake, snake. Ah! Y'all aren't going to believe this. Let's see if I can home in right here, okay? I'm going to see if I can't go deep here just so that you guys can see this. You see what that is? That is an elephant that has been eaten by a boa constrictor. So there's a snake, and there's the elephant that the snake ate. And in fact, I think that scenario is in one of this guy's books that he wrote. So a bit unusual and unexpected. And I thought you guys might appreciate seeing that. I'd had this note for some time and hadn't realized that there was a snake on it. And I certainly hadn't recognized that that snake had eaten an elephant. We're going to move from there to... Where is this? Another note of Colombia. A much older note of Colombia. Most of my Colombian notes are much more recent than this. But here we have Nariño, and it looks like we have a water scene, some tropical palm trees and everything. And it looks like here we have another winged thought. So maybe Mercury here. And there's his two-headed snake on the stick. And on this side, a boring bank building, and the edifice of the Bank of the Republic. And I'm like, why do they put boring buildings like that? There must be 10,000 neat buildings in Colombia, and that bank building is not one of them. I don't understand. But, I don't work for the Colombians either. This note here is probably the most snakety snake and banknotes that is out there. And this is from Brazil. And here we have... Vital Brazil, who developed, the anti-venom for snakes. And he worked with several snakes, including rattlesnakes and several other kinds of snakes. But everything about this note is a snake. This rendition and these graphic backgrounds all represent snake scales. Those are scales that are on the snake. And here's it looking like the shedded skin of a snake. And here's the snake being milked of its venom. And over here is the head of a snake that's used as the offset register. It's just bizarre, and it doesn't stop there, y'all, because when you turn this note over, there's the offset register there, but there's some snake houses there, and here you have one snake consuming another snake, eating a snake. Isn't that amazing? And you have more scales here. These are not as toothy as the scales on the front, but this is one of the most snakety snake notes that I've ever seen. And the watermark, which you don't see Here, I'm not going to go ahead and go in on it because it's not a snake. It's the head of the man that was on the other side of the note. But that is one of my favorite snake videos. And if you haven't noticed, on my YouTube channel, my little logo in the corner that's in the circle is actually from this banknote. We're going to move from South America to Mexico. Mexico? I said that because there's an eagle and a snake there. We're going to move to the Sudan. And they have some sort of snake or hawk, or some sort of snake with an eagle or hawk or falcon right here, and I would imagine it's a hawk or a falcon, given that the Sudan is a Islamic nation. But here is the leader of the Sudan, and you know the Sudan used to be a part of Egypt, and that's very interesting because I realized recently that I actually have one of these headdresses. Mine is a long rectangular cloth with little sewed or crocheted edges just like that. And we used to dip it in the Nile, shake out the water, and then wrap it around our heads. Only when we wear it in Egypt, this little thing is hanging behind one of your ears. I think it's the left ear. But I would have it hanging low behind my ear and then have it wrapped around my head and tucked in at the top. And you almost always wore one of these over one of those little knitted caps that you'll see a lot of Muslims wearing. But it's a pretty interesting note, and it's completely based. It's completely included because of that snake right there. We're moving over to Cambodia now, a 10,000 reel. And this king is pretty interesting. I can't wait to do a video on him. He actually is fluent in Czechoslovakian and actually went to school there and was never really, I think, expected to become the king of Czechoslovakia. But he did when he was in his 50s. And remember when I told you about nagas and naga meaning plural and how naga and snake are cognates? Well, here is a fantastic example of a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7-headed naga, which has some sort of meaning, you know, in their country. And a lot of bridges you go on will have a statue of a fantastic beast, and many times it's a naga or a snake. And on this side there are some more nagas, I think, right here, and there's a religious ruin, and I have no clue what that is, but it's definitely something I'd have to research. But this Cambodian note is included because it has nagas on it. We're going to move from there to another banknote from Cambodia. This one is a 5,000 one, and this is the father of the other king on the other side. And here we have another naga, or multiple-headed snake. And here it is reared up, and then the long snake body just keeps on going. You sometimes see it on staircases a lot. The only other place I've ever seen that, would be on like temples and pyramids in the Mayan culture and the Aztec culture. Oh, look, and there's a cow there, so this would also be a good cow video. Let's see if there's any snakes on the back of this one. Yes, there is. Remember how I just told you how sometimes bridges in Asia have a little deity or a little statue, protective statue on the bridge? Every time I see those, I think about how in European tradition there was always a troll that lived under the bridge, and you either had to sacrifice some to it or run across the bridge really quickly and not linger so that you don't get eaten by the troll. Anyway, there's a naga right there in front of the bridge, and there's one on that side. And you know, I think the long bridge and the stonework alludes to the long length of the snake's body. It's kind of a neat theme, though. And our final note is actually from Mexico. And before you sit there and go, oh, well, he had to include one from Mexico because there's an eagle eating a snake sitting on a cactus on everything that comes out of Mexico. But if you look, there's no such critter. There's no snake on this side, and there's no eagle eating it while it sits on a cactus. There is some swords, and there's a bow and arrow, and there is a warrior priest with his rag tied around his head because he had horrible headaches. You know, a lot like Harriet Tubman. When Harriet Tubman gets on our $20 bill, it'll look nice with this banknote of Mexico. So why is this included in this snake? Ah, here's why. Take a look at this, guys. This is a pyramid in Chichen Itza, I believe. And it's the pyramid of Quetzalcoatl. Oh, it's not Chichen Itza. It's the pyramid of Quetzalcoatl. And it's at Teotihuacan. And this is the head of Quetzalcoatl, which is actually how they said feathered serpent. And he was one of the most revered gods in the Aztec pantheon. I think he was equivalent to Saint, I don't know, one of the saints. And they foretold his return to Mexico in a house floating on the water, with the clouds and stuff like that. And so when they first saw the Spaniards floating on the water coming in, they thought that they were entertaining gods. And they thought that the god Quetzalcoatl had returned. And so there's the head of the feathered serpent right there. There's his place of worship. Probably lots of people got sacrificed to him too, I would imagine. But perhaps not. Maybe he was a decent god. Nevertheless, there's a very scary rattlesnake here at the bottom. And this mimics the snake wall, which I think was found in the Plaza Mayor, or in the Central Plaza of Mexico City. And you got your snake head there, kind of resembling this snake head. And you have the rattles right there. And so this is an undulating snake wall. And if you look at the wee beasties, in the levels of the pyramid, I think they alternate between Quetzalcoatl and other gods' heads. So it's a very snaky note too. And I tell you, I had this note for a while before I even noticed, well, if it had been a snake, it would have bit me. That's just how unaware I was whenever this note first came out. Well, I had a lot to say, but I had a lot of notes to show you. I can't wait to put some of these in as a deep dive note. Which one would you like to see? Go ahead and like and subscribe if you haven't figured out or if you have decided, go ahead and like and subscribe. And if you haven't, well, come on, go ahead and like and subscribe. You can always cancel later if you don't end up liking this channel. But I have a lot of material, and this is actually my 208th video. So like and subscribe, cuss and discuss, comment with me, and let's think about other notes that would fit in this series. This is Numismatic Notes with Benjamin. I am Benjamin. Have a jewel of a day.